Hi everyone, and welcome to this in-depth guide on hyperbolas. Today, we'll be exploring the unique graph of y equals 1 on x, one of the simplest forms of hyperbola. We'll dive into the distinctive shapes of this graph, understand the concepts of asymptotes, and see how changing the equation transforms its position and curvature. By the end of this video, you'll know how to shift, stretch, and reflect hyperbolas with ease. Let's get started with the fundamentals.
So what is a hyperbola? It looks something like this. Y equals 1 on x. It has two branches, one in the first quadrant and one in the third quadrant, where x and y are opposite signs. Let's start by plotting a few points on the curve. For example, when x equals 1, y equals 1. When x equals 2, y equals half. When x equals -1, y equals -1. And so on. When x is positive, y is also positive, which gives us, we can look here, the point is 1, 1, and 2 and half. When x is negative, y is also negative, which is shown by this point, 1 here, -1 and -1. These points show us that this curve has two branches, one in the top right and one in the bottom left. One of the most important features of y equals 1 on x are its asymptotes. An asymptote is a line the curve approaches but never touches. For this hyperbola, the asymptotes are the x-axis and the y-axis, or x equals 0 and y equals 0. You can see that the asymptote is x equals 0 as it is a line the curve approaches but never touches. And it can't touch the x equals 0 as if you put in x equals 0, 1 and 0 will be undefined. It's not possible to put x0 as a value. We can see the relation as x gets closer to 0, y becomes larger and larger, meaning the curve will get close to the y-axis but never actually touch it. And same for this one. Y gets really small, x approaches a really large number. As y goes to a really small number, x becomes really large. One of the most confusing concepts of sketching a hyperbola are the asymptotes, of better understanding this relationship here. So let me explain it to you in more detail. As x approaches 0, y approaches infinity. So as my x values here get closer and closer to 0, y is really large. So as they become closer to 0, they go really big. My y values go really big, and my x values are really small. Now for this one, when y approaches 0, which is this line here, when y approaches 0, when my y values approach 0, x becomes really big. These are my big x values. These are my small x values. When y becomes small, x here is big. This is small y, big x, right here. Small y, big x, which is this. Small y, big x. Same for this one. As my y value is really small, x is really large. And when x approaches 0, y becomes really big. See here, x is coming close to 0, y becomes big. X is becoming really big, y is approaching 0. So this is to help you understand how the asymptotes work in hyperbola.
To wrap up, y equals 1 on x gives us a hyperbola with asymptotes on the y and x axis. Transforming the equation allows us to move the graph to different places on the grid. In the next video, we'll be exploring the transformations and how they affect the shape of the graph. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.